One of my favorite experiences between week 3 and week 4 was having Thiéboudienne at somebody's house. So it was an authentic experience. Anjali, who was my traveling mate here from Virginia, got invited by someone she knew, a friend of a local friend here, Abdu's friend, to go and have Thiéboudienne at somebody's house. Thiéboudienne is the national dish here. It's their version of jollof, fish, rice, and vegetables. It's usually made in a big pot and eaten communally, traditionally, I believe. And so we went over. It was a wonderful thing to be invited to somebody's house who is Senegalese and knew us nominally. So Anjali and I went, Abdu and his wife, Alima went to Baski, who is Boops' wife, and Boops were there and their children. We laid down a blanket, we all sat on the floor. In Thiéboudienne, you eat with a spoon, you have this big pot, everybody has their little corners, and people come around with sauces and kind of accoutrements from the other part of the dish. You eat with a spoon and you eat communally. We also had Bissap, which is hibiscus juice. It's like hibiscus and mint, and some other things blended together. It's one of my favorite juices here. And then we had Ataya. Ataya is their traditional tea that you drink after dinner. It's kind of like mintish green tea. It's served in these little cups, and you kind of go with the beautiful pouring. So there's bubbles at the top. Abdu made us some Ataya. And so I think it's a lovely thing just to be invited into somebody's home. There's always the language barrier. We witnessed so many cultural interactions around how do you eat, like how do you eat communally? Folks were eating with their hands. We had spoons and a combination of that, but also the conversation that happens of spending a lazy Sunday afternoon. Maybe we were there for 3 or 4 hours in someone's house in the middle of Dakar. So that was one of my sweet experiences. I met up with my friend of a friend again, Anta. Anta had me over her house for dinner. She lives in Almadies, which is kind of like the upscale area in Senegal. And we had lamb and chicken skewers and this wonderful dessert. Her little daughter was there who was 8. And just so Anta is also on I've interviewed her on my podcast.
There is a word in Senegal as we're known as the country of Teranga, and Teranga means hospitality. Senegalese people love guests. They're very open. If you knock on somebody's house at lunchtime, you're gonna eat lunch. If you knock at dinner time, you're gonna eat dinner. And that's just they're very sociable.
That's good. I'm gonna come over your house at a mealtime.
You can knock at my house at any time. You will eat at any time.
And she has spent 25 years in the U.S. and moved back to Senegal 5 years ago, namely because she didn't want to raise her daughter in racist U.S.
The other reason I didn't want to raise my daughter in the U.S., frankly, she's a U.S.-born citizen. She could run for president if she wants to. But I extracted her from there. You know why? Because I didn't want her to start her first day of school being told you come from slavery, because that's not true. Black people don't come from slavery. I want her to learn the greatness there is in who she is. I want her to know the greatness there is in this race, in this people she belongs to. And that was not going to happen in America.
So really cool and interesting hearing about Senegal through her eyes, both on the podcast, but in being in her home and trying to understand Senegalese dating and family and culture and how it's really different from the U.S. and what it would mean to live here. Oh, last but not least, at the end of that week, I also went to a fashion show. So of course, I'm trying to take in all the arts and culture here. And some of that I knew beforehand. So I went to the fashion show of Selly Raby Kane, who's a fashion designer here who I heard about through a friend of a friend, and saw her lovely fashion show. She really plays with color and texture. And I enjoyed that experience. I just love being immersed in cultural things that are not mine and sitting kind of inside and outside. So people, unless I open up my mouth, don't necessarily assume that I'm not Senegalese. And so there's some cover in me being a dark-skinned Black woman. Don't let them start to speak to me in French or Wolof, because all I know is knock it out.